explaining what does trusted advisor really mean. And I want to just mention that I think these days people throw around that word quite often, right? They just say, oh yeah, I'm a trusted advisor. So what does it really mean to be a trusted advisor?
Well, let me say, first of all, the one thing you should never do is say, I'm a trusted advisor. It's great when other people say it about you. It really is, but don't, take on the mantle. It's basically, if I had to pick one sentence, it is someone with whom a client can share difficult conversations and feel safe about it. It's got a mixture of, there's some expertise in it, there's some objectivity, there's some integrity, but I think that boils down to it. Someone with who you feel has got your back and yet is objective, independent, and with whom you can have difficult conversations.
Is there a time or anything you'd point to in terms of when somebody might have or will have earned the right to either call themselves a trusted advisor or to use that label? Like, when, in your perspective, or in your opinion, is it appropriate to use the word or the term trusted advisor? So if you're a consultant, should that be part of your vocabulary? And if so, how might you use it?
Well, again, I really am dogmatic about it. You shouldn't use it with respect to yourself. And, internal to a firm, I think it's great to talk about it as an aspiration. If you want to quote other people who have called you that, wonderful. Just don't stick it in your ad copy. Don't lead with it. Don't introduce yourself that way. It's just way too self-oriented, and that's
yeah. I'm aligned with you on that. So I appreciate hearing that from you. So let's say that someone says, okay, I want to become a trusted advisor. I'm not going to use those words myself, but I want to have that level of relationship and value exchange with my clients, with those that I truly want to serve. Right. What are some of the best practices or steps that you would recommend to a consultant who's working with clients? What might they do, or what should they do to reach that level of kind of trusted advisor status in the minds of their ideal client?
Well, that's a good question. There's kind of a progression graphic that we have in the book. It's not really a progression. I mean, you have to master a set of skills, but then conversations go where they go, and they don't proceed along some nice linear progressive thing. But I articulate sort of 4 different levels. One is subject matter expert, really good, got great credentials, all that kind of thing. And you have to have that. Another one is good problem definition skills. My co-author, David, sorry?
What do you mean by that, problem definition?
I mean, jointly skilled at coming together with a client jointly to agree upon what the problem is. My colleague David Maister, co-author on the book, had a great saying. He said, the problem is never what the client said it was in the first meeting. And at first I thought he was being hyperbolic. I've come to think he's kind of right about that. So, what a client will tell you in a first meeting is one thing, and you should obviously listen to it, and you have to be respectful and responsive to it, but also be suspicious, think, I'm not so sure it's that simple. And then there's an art to sort of, coming along with the client to the point where the client finally says, you know what, I think our real problem is this. And you go, makes a lot of sense to me. It's basically the same skills as a shrink. In that regard, you let the client discover the real issue. And once they've discovered it and anchored on it, you can be there with them. You get some reflected glory for having been around when they came up with a brilliant idea. Then there's an aspect of perspective and the ability to say, well, this is how SAP does it. This is how Salesforce does it. This is how we think about it. And then finally, there's a pure trusted advisor level. And the essence there is it's personal. It is no longer just business. It is no longer just, one company to another. You're talking to a human being, and, the realm of business has the whole panoply, the whole range of emotional stuff that comes to bear outside business is right there in business too. Successes and failures and comings and goings and firings and, resentments and it's all there. And if we neglect to acknowledge the humanity of the person that we're working with, you miss out on a lot and you become much less effective. So, and at any point in time, you have to kind of operate in one of those 4 moments, and you sort of have to have the courage and the flexibility to hop back and forth as the moment calls for. So that's how I think of it.
And